Hi, it's Ramit from GrowthLab, and I have a question from somebody named Invincibles. I guess we've got Beyonce, Madonna, and Invincibles. So let's take a look. Invincibles asks, we launched an online business and we are wondering, how do we differentiate ourselves between all the others that are talking about the same topics? Now, this is a great question. I could spend all day talking about this. What I'm gonna do is give you a few examples of how to think about this. This is something that rings near and dear to me because I've had to think about it a lot as I was in the personal finance space, careers, entrepreneurship, and a million other niches that are highly competitive. If you think about personal finance, who comes to mind? You have the big names like Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, and then you have other people who are primarily online like Mr. Money Mustache. All right, so there's a lot of different approaches to personal finance. What makes you stand out among them? I'm gonna give you an uncomfortable first answer. You actually have to have a different perspective than other people. If your perspective is, hey, save 10% of your money and sign up for my newsletter, why would I? There's other people who say the same thing. They're better, they have a better looking website, maybe they're more attractive, who knows? What I did was I took a different perspective on the whole space. So I looked and said, look, this doesn't really work, keeping a budget and telling people to stop spending money on lattes. So I had a different philosophy and I started writing accordingly. The other thing you can do is to have a different writing style. There's a lot of sites out there that are super punchy. Mine is an example where I had a certain voice, I used curse words, I made fun of people, I used examples like going out to a bar. That doesn't really resonate with certain audiences, and so they left, but other people became more attracted. There's also targeting a different group than has normally been targeted. Again, I'll give you an example that I used and an example that Mr. Money Mustache used. So my example was targeting young people who were slightly more affluent and wanted to live a rich life. That's very different than, say, a Midwestern couple who has 3 or 4 kids. Totally different. Different language, different philosophy, different everything. Mr. Money Mustache, who's a guy who talks about saving 60 to 70% of your income, well, his audience is very different than my audience. So we're all talking to different audiences. Oftentimes we have different philosophies, and we're certainly using different styles. And that's just one example. If you think about fitness, so many examples there. Not only are there weight loss, there's weight loss for women, there's weight loss for women who just had a baby, there's scrawny to brawny, how to take skinny guys and get muscle on them, there's Weight Watch, there's a million. So we cover a lot of these positioning distinctions in our Zero to Launch and Call to Action courses. The key for you is to step back, don't think about what you want to tell the market, go look at what the market's actually doing. So you're in personal finance. Okay, make a little map. Who's out there? There's frugality, there's earning more, there's internet marketing. Break it down and see where you have a unique perspective. And then make sure that your copy, your philosophy, all align with that. Now, all of this can seem a little arcane. So I thought I'd give you one example from one of our graduates. Sarah Jones is in the relationship and dating space. And if you think about relationship and dating, what are the first things that come to mind for you for online classes? For me, it's scammy, sleazy, pushy, pickup. And she took a totally different approach. One, she targeted an audience that was typically different than the usual audience. Her audience was introverted men. And then the second thing she did was to focus on how she wrote. She's writing as a woman, helping men become better at dating. And the way she writes is so different than some of the other phrases that you would see on dating sites. It's not pushy, it's not pickup, it's much more calm and deliberate. Why? Because that type of writing is her style and it appeals to her audience. So if you're curious how we've done this with all kinds of students in all kinds of different domains, whether it's dating, fitness, all kinds of stuff, click below. We've got a little document we created called Positioning Breakthroughs, and it is one of the keys to our success and the success of our students. Take a look.